3 days might not be enough to see all that Paris has to offer, but maybe it's all the time that you have. Let us show you around at some of the most picturesque locations in this magical city. On the first day, start at the center of the city at the Luxembourg Gardens. The gardens have been used as a filming location for several movies, including Midnight in Paris, Marie Antoinette, and you can easily see why. It's one of the most beautiful parks in Paris and the perfect starting point for the day. From here, we can reach our second spot on foot, which is the Pantheon. It is a neoclassical building located in the Latin Quarter of Paris. The building's dome is one of the largest in the world, standing at 83 meters tall. As we were short on time, we only filmed outside, but if time is not an issue for you, you can also enter the building for a small admission fee. Here you can spend some time walking around on the streets of the Latin Quarter. It is a historical district of Paris and also one of its biggest cultural hubs. Some of the most interesting streets in the city can be found here, and it is one of my favorite areas to walk around in the city. Walk your way through these unique streets until you arrive at Shakespeare and Co. It is one of the most atmospheric bookstores in Paris, and while unfortunately we couldn't film inside, that did not stop us to get a delicious cup of coffee next door while enjoying the view of the river and the Notre-Dame. After finishing our coffee, we walked to the riverside and checked out the closest bridges, as they offer stunning views of the river and the city. Also, some scenes from one of my favorite movies, Before Sunset, were shot here. Unfortunately, the time we were in Paris, Notre-Dame was still under renovation, but when you're watching this video it might already be open, and if it is, definitely include it on your list of things to visit. But since it was closed, we decided to go to Saint-Chapelle instead. This Gothic-style chapel is just a short walk from the Notre-Dame, and like with many famous spots in Paris, you do need to line up for quite a while in order to get in. To be honest, if you're short on time and you need to make your list of things to see in Paris shorter, this would be the one that I would skip, as I really don't like to stand in line and I don't find myself inspired that much by religious architecture. But if that's your thing, you might have a great time inside. The next destination is a bit of a walk from here, so if you don't want to continue walking, you can also take a bus or the metro to Rue Cremieux. It's a picturesque street full of colorful houses and one of the top Instagram spots in Paris, so don't be surprised if the street is filled with other like-minded photographers. From here, head towards the river to the bridge named Passerelle de Mornay. It's an interesting looking pedestrian footbridge, and from here you can get a great view of the parking boats in the harbor. It's probably not on other people's top things to do list, but we had lots of fun shooting here while passerbys were messing up all of our shots. From here, head towards the river for a Riverside Walk. Here you can catch many people exercising, running or riding bikes, or just coming out for an evening walk, so it's the perfect place for some street photography. But as the lights turn on at night, it's also a nice spot if you like to shoot portraits. As you get closer to the Louvre, you'll get the first glimpse of the Eiffel Tower too. Here you can walk all the way to the Louvre on the riverside, but if you're tired, you can also hop on the public transport anytime. I might mean the minority saying this, but if you come to the Louvre and you don't plan on entering the museum, then come in the evening when there aren't as many people. We didn't arrive late enough and there were still quite a lot of people around, so it was difficult to get shots without others in it. Still, it was much better than when we visited during daytime, as then it was simply impossible to get shots without others walking in and out of our frame. This day is going to be all about the Eiffel Tower and its surroundings. Start at Rue Saint-Dominique 50. From this corner, you can get a nice view of the Eiffel Tower in the distance above the buildings. You can also try to get some good shots of the tower as you get closer to the main attraction of the day. Once you reach the garden of the Eiffel Tower, spend some time here too, looking around in the park, as it's the perfect place for people watching, and you might also find some musicians or street artists performing here. Once you took in the scenery from below the tower, just walk towards the side entrance and be prepared for a long queue. We decided to take the elevator only to the second floor, because on the second floor you would still need to queue up again, and from what we've seen, that line's not a fast one either, and we were hoping to find other places with equally great, if not better views of the city. But if you have time and don't mind the long waiting time, then you should definitely go for it. You can choose if you prefer to go back down with the elevator or walk down. I suggest walking down, as the walk is only about 15 minutes and you can still see the city from different angles on your way down. By the time we went down, it was already evening and they turned on the lights of the Eiffel Tower. As we were there on the 1-year anniversary since the Russian invasion of Ukraine has started, the lights were glowing in blue and yellow. In regular times, it is lit up in a golden light. You can take some shots from below before heading to the other side of the river through Pont de Lena. Here you have a nice view of the Eiffel Tower, but be prepared because this area is also pretty crowded with lots of street vendors around. On the other end of the bridge, there is the Trocadero Gardens. After walking up the stairs, you can get an amazing view of the Eiffel Tower from here. You can also look around a bit up here, as there are usually many people and you might catch some performance artists too. If you still have energy, you can walk down to the other nearby bridges, as they also provide a different angle of the Eiffel Tower. But since we were already very tired, we decided to call it a night. On day 3, we start at the Moulin Rouge at Montmartre. On the way up, just a few minutes from the Moulin Rouge, you'll find this cute coffee shop called Café de Moulins. This is the place where they shot the movie Emile. We went inside for a pancake, but to be honest, while it still tasted good, it was still the worst and most expensive pancake that we tried in Paris. From here, head towards the Wall of Love, where I love you is written in 311 languages, and see if you can find yours. The next stop is Place Emile Goudeau. Several historic buildings can be found on this square, including the building where Picasso and several famous artists lived and worked. You can also start to get some better views of the city from here. Sacre-Coeur is at the top of the hill in Montmartre, and it's also the highest point of the city. You can enter the church for an admission fee, but we only came for the view. It's a great spot to catch the sunrise or the sunset, but we were in a hurry because we wanted to catch the sunrise at our next destination. From Montmartre, we took the subway to Arc de Triomphe. This is another location where you will probably have to queue up for a long time, so you have to prepare that for in advance. We arrived too late, and because of the long queue we missed the sunset. But while you're waiting in line, you can still get some interesting shots from the surrounding traffic, and of course of the Arc de Triomphe itself. Once you're in, you can walk up the stairs to the top and you will get what I consider the best view of Paris from above. You can look at the skyline in 360 degrees in all directions, so if you come here to shoot, this is definitely going to be one of your favorite spots. From Arc de Triomphe, walk south to the river towards the Eiffel Tower for your boat ride on Seine. What better way to finish your trip than with a boat ride on Seine? We used Get Your Guide to book a ticket in advance. We got on the boat at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower, and the whole ride takes about an hour. On the way, you can see some of the monuments of Paris illuminated on the top of the boat, so if you still wanted to capture something you didn't have a chance during your trip, then this is your time. These were my tips for you if you plan on visiting or shooting in Paris. I hope you found some valuable information in this guide. Do keep in mind that there is only so much you can do in 3 days. Also, if you want to visit Disneyland or you want to check out the Louvre from the inside, it's better to add a few more days to your itinerary, as both require at least half a day. If you have any other recommendations, please let us know in the comments so we can go and check them out on our next trip. Thank you for watching my video. Until next time.